Hello, this is a test, motherfucker. Testing, motherfucker.
Mannequins coming to life. I said mannequins are coming alive.
Outliving one's feelings in one's own art, created with hardened hands, scarred and worn out, luxury in originality, mist over the road, you in from the outside, poetry garnish, radish floating, rum mixed with water, canvases, conceptualized and extracted everything. But they all withdraw from conclusion. It's ludicrous to think anyone who is a lover will ever understand. Death inviting. Funerals at rituals, leaving out anything to celebrate over. Diminishing here, a foreigner to earth, and everybody's looking at me. Sometimes there is no sense in trying. Scorn, and my heart is bleeding souls to wear, veils for temptation fails, it rules. Affliction, to be aware, and it's alright, I'm only dying. I'm in my mind, state of its own, it's completely perplexing. Resulting and rewarded to be a paradox, life's matrix. Now it's only people's game I must dodge. Meanwhile, life happens all the time around them. This is only sign ambitions to be my own. While alone and in exile, never to speak of jealous words of those who are free, besetting sin. I've worked so hard to be my own. Now everyone is probably be just like them. Can I place fault or just replace them with users far from away? It's natural to feel lonely at times. It is selfish to be in pursuit of happiness. But I've lived life like everyone I saw until I rose and stood there. Okay, I've had enough. What else can you show me? There's greater attractions on that other side. As soon as you are born, the fear is instinct and natural, until the soul crosses over and causes you to snap, because they hit you when they're there, and they hit you when you're born, when you're alone. Calling for a sharp relation, unable to, because you're full of fear, except you used to be just like them. It's easy to be doped with lust and culture, as transveil as alternative cultures, but they are all still peasants as far as the poetic muses are concerned. Someone's awakening is obscure in its duration. Golden smiles from those who speak of suicide tears. Remarks of roses. It's a hard fact to accept. You are one more person, merely living. Trembling voices whisper echoes of end times. From the distance, startled ones in a world, chicken and stranger. As others meet poverty first time. People are nothing besides what they invest in. False hope to wander astray, as some remain true to their prophecies, forms of self-suggestions. I'm committed to my conduct. It's a birthright. Painful impressions in my past. Breaking out into madness, family and religious connotations to it. I have in myself dogmatic poems, achieving more patterns. Reaching myth. It's abnormal to be wanting to be normal. We have nothing in common. Superhuman innovation while sitting on my throne through the time portal. Strutting like the pharaoh. Passing past white trash gods. Multitudes truth and wisdom. Dropping philosophers off to exile corners. Sustain the purity of myself. Poems of passion. Living poetry. After I've written it, to be at peace. It is to be beautiful and vice versa. To be what one is meant to be. Illuminating, tempting, stronger than the beauty of lust, and more addictive as well. For the poetry is my flesh and a private matter. To know what to do, just self-destruct. To know otherwise, self-discover. Monks as muses, muses for monks and singing sighs, conceptualizing beauty of the world as it's carried in the wind, crying out for more. Be a miracle of modern time, be so and not of another. Dancing now and I'll dream later. This is the end. A petal on the ground, drop from a flower. Its earth's take and response from a dead star. Magnetic, I walk towards it, crushing my spirits of the day. To end is now. To live long enough is to see death in its override. Maybe living is a miracle in itself, and death is payments. Don't wait for me, for I've already left. No longer I coming back. Weep if it eases, but no amount cried out. Soak in the soil and pull me out. Cry more, cry for. Expanding thoughts that drop off into the cosmos, where some can flirt with empires. Descartes, I rise. I live, both poetry and a poet, belonging everywhere at once. I now mistrust romantics and poets. The experience of love is far more better than reading about it. It's not written down. Go tell somebody. Catch you slipping now. To be in the present is to depend on its immediate watch me move. How much suffering can a poet go through? How long can a good thing last? Committing myself. Don't wait for me, for I'm already left. No longer I coming back. Weep if it eases, but no amount cried out. Soak in the soil and pull me out. Cry more, cry for. Expanding thoughts that drop off into the cosmos, where some can flirt with empires. Descartes, I am, I write. I live. I'm both poetry and a poet, belonging everywhere at once. I now mistrust romantics and poets. The experience of love is far more better than reading about it. Go tell somebody. Catch watch me move. How much suffering can a poet go through? How long can a good thing last? Committing myself, paint spreads on a canvas. Portrait for life can be disappointing. So I rise and commit myself to death, watching the smoke swirl. An absolute self will never be. Watch me move. Often wonder if being sane is to completely disregard the suffering. In utter emptiness of it all, the portrait forever in memory. Alluring changes, Pegasus, I found him. Glittering illumination, outwitting death. In vice, I'll self-destruct. I'll learn about thee. It is contemplating death, yet brave enough to rise and create art from lewd hands, providing time to stop and pour roses, to laying soil, romance and jazz, whether to say, whether to stay or go. It's best not left to me, so I'll be a paradox. Is it worth striving for? Can one hold on to ethics? Can anyone create morals? What's done in the dark will come to the light. To live is to know fate. To be ourselves is to be brave. Going against parts that derive from fate. Karma comes and the mystics faint. To be free, to deny freedom to others. Explode into seeds, spread over paradise. Birth poetry. Fade like a star, right into illumination. Holler at me. Manifests reach forward into the future. I am. Pagans on earth. To most praise. Idle. Trapped. The real will find stay. Blind. Me and the devil make two. Leaving to what others find enticing. Poems and paintings. Cello symphonies. They tried to play hate, while I've left to converse with muses and to impress angels. You better not find where you stay, for their wrath is more frightful than the devil's demons. Life of mystery is what I shall lead. Existence is too fragmented. Before being forbidden paradise, I'll commit suicide. A life of poetry is what I'll lead. It's a world full of beauty, never to be heard of, and my comrade screams bloody murder. To know a person's heart is to know their culture first. The poetry is their face. For those never to read poems is to never look in the mirror. I dare you to shame them. Falling into private thoughts and feelings, in comfort, eat with the poets, to sit at posh places, seldom meditation passages of time. musings on a world I want to forget, unborn child. I am a pearl. Its beauty dies out, so will the artists. Though we all come from the same place, hard times make anyone hesitant to speak up and ask. Romantics crave for erotic freedom at all times. If they had it, they'll be living off welfare. It's hard to trust, hard to let go. Freedom isn't. The only thing I could do good is to write poetry. In the end of time, remember the first smile you saw. When you cross over, smile first. Perhaps the greatest burden for anyone to carry is not the secrets of their sin, but to be in love with another that has no love for them in return. For death is only one single act. Life goes on, whether it's just or not. It's up to the living. Come with me. Lead the ways of the wild into the hearts of humanity. Run. Quick see. Craving more, making me poor. Present now, part in past. Parent to my future. Poems. Angst always. My mind is a regime, a tyrant of emotions, impulsive dogma. I have my own character. A tragedy is knowing who we love and never to be loved back.
Pause between that.
Been on a low, what is the light without a little darkness? Pursuit catching my mind, not my heart. Maybe I should turn to romance. As the soul that I have, and to what I can call my own, dripped from my thinking, I will confront my death regardless of the quality of my thinking, for my soul is truly what I own until then. Without the lights turned on, my inner world is the cosmos, my insecurity is the famine, war, my personal fears, and any joy is the humanities, my smile is the arts. And in the dream, I have no one interrupting my own symphonies, and constantly surrounded by my soulmate, developing a progress to reach awakening, passing my soul to her, swapping poems and exchanging private images. Arch of Eternity. An attempt to define myself is like being saint enough to witness a burning bush. Soul-selling efforts. I am the lineage of time. I represent humanity, and I am an individual. This goes for everyone else. Universe. Doctrine to the mundane, poetry laughs with me. Be original in innovation, while they awe and jealous, and then emulate. Do not simply come into this world, going into slavery and leave, exiting through death. Be an entire realm, personal universe, supernova death in jazz melodies. Utopia may be gained in death, paradise is lost on earth, absence of knowledge. Allow myself to be constant in deep learning. Occupy poetics. Treaty to myself, making amends to myself, atoning for my actions, my character in the dark, never to be seen by the outside world. I'm conscious, learning to articulate myself. Failure that interferes with my personal destiny, a true burden in the land of the living. Delegate monk inside. Quiet weeping for the character that is what others see of me formed. Laughter is the only magic one could do for another. Abstract existence, obscure living, boundless thinking, monotonous living everywhere, distorted markets, forgotten and failed dreams live inside hard-worked for houses, shaped by expectations that is inherently flawed. Matrix, infinitely variations. Text. Tossed into consciousness, became irritable living in reality. It was intense. Struggling flare, veiled to the outside as madness, wide-eyed and gentle soul. In art, my own only dream is to avoid the cemetery. I just want to be dwelling in immense wisdom. I want to break away from what I fell into, almost mundane, like everybody else. To which I almost ended up being like everyone else. Dull and local, overbearing insult to my own yearning fate. Vivid and unforgettable. Mysticism quivered into my life. Fascination with the occult. A delight in the exploration. Her death still lingers around in me, as much as the air does, and as close to me as my private thoughts that consumed in her. Building a life within me, something stronger than the Roman Empire, bathed in glory, soul's decor, intimate, like the virgins losing themselves in both lust and love. Abstraction, my actions to build up and to make something of myself, coming into conflict to the exterior world. Breathing flower, providing perfume for the world, resulting in social wars, wild and restless, contriving intermediation. I'm a deliberate gaze, risky in poetry, flamboyant artist, longing in actual love, where I had once truly loved. Days and nights are gone, absorbing myself, threatening system, battling and brooding, punching the pendulum, passion and tender, poetic, the skies darkened, land filled itself, with bodies burning, with burning bodies, dead, not the sight. The sense, their souls go to heaven or hell, war, minds mastered, lead foot soldiers enslaved to own illusions. Ignorance produced and raged, war for them, over surge in emotions, global war. Glamour in fan fascination to fame, creating or attempts to do so, not coming to grips to ordinary constellations, or to acknowledge most are single stars that just personally shine. Highly cultured compositions, like being born from the Balzac period, blue scars, owls and moths, crisps of heavy mind, standing on earth, punch can burn, morph from mere mortal to immortal, kingdom comes, global sweeps, some weep in private whimpers, empire, republic, neo-world, kissing damaged flowers scent still there, human, identity, not what happens to us, what we have, it's what we do. Tossed into consciousness, became irritable living in reality. It was intense. Struggling flare, veiled to the outside as madness, wide-eyed and gentle soul. In art, my own only dream is to avoid the cemetery. I just want to be dwelling in immense wisdom. I want to break away from what I fell into, almost mundane, like everybody else. To which I almost ended up being like everyone else. Dull and local, overbearing insult to my own yearning fate. Tossed into consciousness, became irritable, living in reality. It was intense, struggling flare, veiled to the outside as madness, wide-eyed and gentle soul. In art, my own only dream is to avoid the cemetery. I just wanted to be dwelling in immense wisdom. I wanted to break away from what I fell into, almost mundane like everybody else, to which I almost ended up like being like everyone else, dull and local, an overbearing insult to my own yearning fate. Vivid and unforgettable, mysticism quivered into my life. Fascination with the occult, a delight in the exploration. Her death still lingers around in me, as much as the air does and as close to me as my private thoughts are consumed in her. Building a life within me, something stronger than the Romans' empire, bathed in glory, soul's decor, intimate, like the virgins losing themselves in both lust and love. Abstraction, my actions to build up and to...
Keep it up, boy.
I wrote the poem for the void between. Why? Because I'm going to end up dying. I wrote it for her. I loved her since I first laid eyes on her. Why? Well, why love anything? I love her because she's perfect and touching immortality, and meaning to life is based on her. Do I dare go into her own kingdom at last? I whisper poetry, quiet to her under the dry sun. Uninvited colours, gestures of love maybe. Will she meet me in the same romantic soul? Lost, hollow and waiting for meaning. I've met her in my dreams, and in her kingdom is where she is. Distant and potent, let me go nearer. Like in paint, would rather go with no masks. I know how the world ends. Not in fantasy or a yearning. It's in her revolutions, where what we now know will belong in the past. As she creates a new dogma, I'll leave homage at her kingdom. I'll leave her kingdom in a man's private whimper. The only person I seek to be accepted by is thy lover. Until then, I'll do my best to accept myself. Conscious and waking in this reality, we all contribute to, unconscious of it or not. The poppies break from sealed cases. Muse, what period of mankind is this? It feels almost like a crime to talk about true love, where everything seems to be based at aesthetic judgment. In layman's terms, face value. Will I quit? They're labelled me a major threat. Can remind people what society has made them forget. Glimpsed around, I notice a red glow, like city's lights in the distance but around a different area.
How are you holding up? Square.
Stirring thoughts to what can create such a glow that kills all the stars, lights, or at best damper their light. Arches, I assume, stand at the base, poetic perhaps, or something more secretive in plain sight. Narrow does not waste itself. The top conspiracies are the ones that cannot be proven and very transparent. Rough and ready in the mattress to where some of us sleep on, with old tobacco smell in the bedroom, with access to endless amounts of coffee, wide-eyed and ready to kill. Dream nets dropped over society. Bankers and merchants, streams of blood, flow from head to toe. I go sleep, reading William Blake. Maybe the piece, How, if I'm lucky enough. Malachi, the sound is strong, hold my hand. The silence is deafening. Poetry, I have a life to live. Let me not be swallowed in by your poetry. Let not my either labyrinth, my mystique, or my veil, or parts of my character go in to your fog poetry. There is more to life than to lay down and read your poetry. Regardless how raw or immense, or how much I could benefit from, I have a life to live. I just want to live. At least as I live in solitude, your poetry eases the pain I feel. I'll give you that. I'll give you that poetry. Clean clothes only to cover the corpse, please. No pictures, because of regardless who died, life always goes only. Pictures of me in my last physical stage, fiction. You can glance, you cannot believe. Frogs and crickets will only feel for you, but do not render to poetry for thrusting comfort. My body only represents a ruin of memories that will never come back to life. Perhaps it will, in exile only. Perhaps death is the freedom fighter and not the poetry itself. Perhaps let the painters keep all the colours to this world. I'll keep all the words stored away in collections of poetry. Sell these words to novelists and playwrights. If the painters sell me canvases of paintings, I'm loving Vincent. Poetics can claim innocence as vixens claim sins. Spreading over the innermost sensation, pagans walk amongst us. Instead of looking for love, we all look at lust.
Alright. Nice.
Jesus.
No, don't worry. Whenever you're ready.
Heartbreak. The world made no exception for lovers. Life can be a bitch. So, grab her by the hair and fuck her while screaming and firing a gun into the air. I call her karma. You'll fall in love when she needs you. Once, you had put the pieces back together. Even though you may look intact, you were never quite the same as you'd been before the fall. Ever has it been that love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation? Wanting a heart can be dangerous. It invites emotions to men. Stab a body and it heals. It's a dangerous thing when you have love without faith and trust. No one wants to feel unsure when they give their heart away. One of the greatest journeys in life is overcoming insecurity and learning to truly not give a shit. They know I'm there until they see me surpassing. It hurts when one loves the other and they don't love you back. Never trust someone that claims they care nothing of what society thinks of them. Instead of conquering obstacles, they simply pretend they don't exist. I felt the unbearable sorrow of wanting to leave for a rebirth forever, no longer to cry, meaningless, grasping groans sinking into the western sky, into the infinite depth of blue, and played as gentle as the violin, sending my heart into a flutter to the beat of destiny. Most people master the screen to contain the inaccessible, inexpressible terror, somehow found right size in mundane, never to be fitted to the path of fate. I belong elsewhere. You deserve my silence, like I no longer existed. How sad for those experiencing rare periods of love. Never lasting long, embodying melancholy, concealing hostility towards the other. In the end, at least, they'll fit in. Dedicated to the house I lived in that allowed no swearing. I've got rushing thoughts, battlefield scars, reading in plush looks and cars, life as a poet star, without heart, maintain composure at ease. Competition got me ripped without wisdom, barely broke. What's knowledge without power? Some boys have life distorted. You're full of shit, bro. That was the bitch who hit you.
Finally forgot someone said.
It's funny.
Whenever you're ready.
To meet her without touching her, a burden afflicted on my future without words. I look back, tears. My words here cannot convey that love for her. And without being loved back, dreadful words speak to me. Photo. Strangers touch form, peering intrusively from a faceless crowd, sometime after my death. Musing on the thought she can purge on me, at her own will, lusting eyes. But the eyes keep peeping on me, even if I never respond. Maybe I should let her be. Married women carry forbidden fruit, but why I like it so I'll never know. And her husband still has love for her. Do not let your voice be an echo in thy heart, nor a fainting, sparking, twinkling moment that belongs to the past. Impress on the mystic strangeness to the flowers, blooming and spring. Reawaken. Instead of the echoes, let your love run riot presently now in my heart. Don't let it snow over your image in a picture. Poetry enables emotional self-indulgence. It can be issued anonymously, overzealous concerns with style. There's a freedom in poetry. I feel it. Without the use of a lover, It's the love you have, a forced colour and meaningless life, like a thick forest, full of the world's unwanted flowers, charming boys. When poetry fades, offer one last final image as a devoted lover of art. Then learn to embrace death.
The dog walked or?
Hello, puppy.
Oh, okay, he's run away or? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay, no, yeah. One second.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Oh, poet. It's true that real beauty only flows, that never rests. It's unattainable. In eyes and hands I crave to curl and sob in violent thrust, not in a bang, but a whimper. Like that poet guy, I yearn it, like my virginity. I don't do drugs. I am drugs. Salvador Dali. I will no longer be within a frame that's normal. If I accidentally fall into a subgroup or a subculture, I'll stop participating in it. It's unhealthy and somehow doesn't feel it fits into destiny. Life is short, all too short, and I am human, all too human, and my mind is at stake. From the beginning, men used God to justify the unjustifiable. Go for broke. Always try and do too much. Dispense with safety nets. Take a deep breath before you begin talking. Aim for the stars. Keep grinning. Be bloody-minded. Argue with the world. And never forget that writing is as close as we get to keeping a hold on the 1,001 things, childhood certainties, cities, doubts, dreams, instants, phrases, parents, loves, that go on slipping like sand through our fingers. Now I know what a ghost is. Unfinished business. That's what. It's very simple to be happy, but it is very difficult to be simple. The butterfly counts not months, but moments, and has time enough. Love's gift cannot be given. It waits to be accepted. I seem to have loved you in numberless forms, numberless times, in life after life, in age after age, forever. Love is an endless mystery, because there is fell in love. Alright. Fell in love just outside midnight secret, slandering anything society had developed and worked for. Any mood now, tender and dying for. In terms of love, I thought it toiled in poetry. Romance is specialized trade for a slight few. If musings breed courage, that's very romance. Blooming flower, turned to true love. A smell of burn inside, passion of incent. Intriguing, the inner world to be pulled outside in a violent thrust, and drenched her with everything of his full intention. Poetic intelligence whispers in. A woman's heart, like holding water in one's hand. For any male romantic, but it's a prelude to either immortality or endless agony. And if the romantic had wisdom, he'll know if it's a winning hand. Meaning and content would simply pass by, murdering any earthly value and transcend anything here. But if the romantic won the chance to hold her heart and invite it inside her soul, he'll be paying for it for the rest of his life, including his family, close friends, peers and industry, ignoring prestige, status, and I dare say the Holy Grail. The revelation for him is in her smile, in titanic saturation. He'll forget about the world outside and continue to embellish in her soul. A smart romantic knows they'll never arrive and be forever in search, in this life or the next. But true poetry will melt in your soul and not in your hand, because they touch on everyone besides the peasants. Because her golden flesh, saturated in beauty, is help relieve her morals, wisdom, and character. For the water in her hand, and the hand had been blessed, and now ancient, holy. Even in winning over and dwelling in actual love, changing patterns still take place, like a lengthy symphony. It's for the better. Soft silk, harsh commands I follow, known to all men. Now, forging love into poetry, threatening to kill all empires, including those preparing for the future. It isn't a compete for glory, tempting demons, a cure to sin, causing nausea to the religious, questioning all myths. I had heard a martyr's life starts at the point of physical death, inspiring all masons to build stone envy, to anyone lays eyes on marble beauty, philosophers to think and write, to hope to help improve humanity for him, painters to find new colors in their brushstrokes, filmmakers to find poetry in motion. Just blooms culture that ever sows, fails in her eyesight. This isn't a self-inflated puffing chest, for she enslaved me, drew me in one smile, even if I wasn't chosen. In volunteer terms, enslaved as a follower, an exile in Odyssey. I'm an emotional wilderness to every second I'm in his presence. I inflate his beauty and it spread everywhere, and my veins went. Finally, I felt happiness for the first time. Don't know what you heard about me, but it's a romantic that finds love, head full of poetics. Hugging the gold, formed for the silk, formed for the sphinx, and not let love part and break. Colder and older, not to look back as forever passes. Affection should be in nostalgia. When years pass over, teasing time, finished and complete. I'll sell my soul to have my love still. Not tired in resentment of knowing love and living without. It's an error common amongst people. Patience in created art in theatre. A prison of moods and deriving in some poetry. Torture in life is shorter without it. Phoenix, cloudless skies, no clouds, starry nights. Day denies some attributes. Expressed loneliness, indwelling solitude, soft and harsh at the same time. Jealous, embellish in my heart where I see lovers sigh. Lest I am not, I must stop confessing angry thoughts in poetry and wait till open ears. Maybe with the helping of taunting time in final moments of life, where one knows love and doesn't follow through or open up. Heart will shatter as love lives on, wanting younger minds with flaming passions. Poems as brides for male romantics, as symphonies for those ladies with secret pains. In secret I grieve. But my love has not loved less. The loss of life, pathless darkness, in spoiling life itself, where it could have spent in moments love. No direction of moods to go. So one dwells in addictive despair, and seeing nothing else besides sweetening bitterness, when one screams dark and wild. We had spent our ungoverned youth, embellishing in famous love with dreams of growing old. Now I've got nothing to do, besides wait to die. Wishing prevention to intrude, finding rather a continued life. Whirlwind and falling upon cheap dirt.
Who the fuck do you...
Tragedy in art does not coil my moods, just heightens them. I guess when one must rail, it should be in revelation. It should be in revolution that includes all of humanity and not for love. For loving another and dying for. It seems so selfish if you want to talk of morals, while your love steals attention from humanity. A lover is the pure poet's prize. Awards are those swallowed egos and wanting prestige in industry. But a coming of age for me is carry on. Red knife, bloody. Because this is earth, where sin is profitable. I want to catch you slipping. Hate as motivation, resentment as fashion. I got a knife. This is guerrilla. In silence we meet. In secret we loved. Saturating this world with philosophy that sparks revolution. Tradition is forgotten. History books burned. The fact that political ideologies are tangible realities is not proof of their vitally necessary character. The bubonic plague was an extraordinarily powerful social reality, but no one would have regarded it as vitally necessary, and everyone wanted to complain until the handouts started pouring in. I just developed myself and objected the reality outside because of its flaws, and knowing that any beauty it owned could have been heightened. Oh, how swallow the ocean is. My own weeping was only heard by my own ears, and no one shared in my laughter. I stood and said no. I became after I put in the work to be something of myself. An individual culture in a poetic strip. A private world. I'm looking for a muse that can outsmart my own mind. Sitting at the library reciting ancient poetry, knows they can leave but won't say no to me. Would you be mine? Now don't get mad. But I told my God how much you like it from behind. It's a revelation to know that no revolution is perfect with the involvement of people. If it could work, it would have happened. We had been given freely thousands of years of life. Instead, we took God's figure and formed the devil. Unwanted fame, with my knife out, made my heart turn cold in exile, and all I see is images that will ruin the remaining innocence. To what mystery you search for, turning slowly into damning madness, till those mythological soldiers come forth, hitting your chest to shatter your frozen heart. I had met the beast from the east, heading west to destroy the rising sun. I pop any poet who whimpers now, for those do not praise death as master. To this reality will live on in constant torture. I'd rather poverty in paradise than richness on earth. My game was built on respect, and now with loaded gun, I plan to take shot to see them bodies dropping. I smile to see the lights turn out. Mystics turned gods. It's so easy to become one. It's more enticing than running to hide. And I really think that no one really cares. Ideas are harmless unless that spot in the mind where the thinker had planted finally crashes in and actions are taken. I'm not autonomous. I'm a real person. Flexible, intelligent, and humble enough to live my life. I had reached that status on the account of that, where everyone else must busy themselves to be a part of. Do not search for me, for I am sad.
That's alright.
It's a pacemaker.
Yeah, it's fine. It's actually quite relaxed.
As masturbation as one path to a perfect fantasy, this world does not. Republic, tyrants, empire, slavery, nothing is proven outside of failure. Timeless architecture will fall. Philosophy and those ideologies will be forgotten. Secrets will be public. No privacy will be left. Dampening rain will fall. If not, embers to light fires over vast lands. People will run riot on the streets naked, children as orphans. All arts will be rejected, being blamed for starting the revolution. It is destiny for the world to be destroyed, despite any best efforts to be altruistic. Even if the intent is completely pure, flowering darkness in every moment, clowns laughing loudly, indulging the pains of people. Discussions of changing this world, changing tactics are taboo. The war is a complete wipeout. Suicide is daily and becoming normal. The same of seeing death out on the streets. Misery is abundance. After the winter, there's a pleasure in pain. The sun will rise again. Those who become symbols of the revolution and throughout the war had become muses, come out of plain sight, where it once believed they had died. From the matrix starting to birth an illumination over this world, a new smoky light population. Anything before shall never be spoken of. It shall be destroyed and eventually be as of if it never really existed. There is nothing wrong with being human. It's in their actions, both in public and private. Light and dark, alt emotions, sinful intent. I just learnt to master myself, my thoughts, my art in my hands. Thoughts fill. I just know what to do with it. And if any unwanted emotion boils, I destroy it, and if joy, contentment, love now comes over, I enjoy it, knowing it shall sway. I've entered a new earth, with the muses I walk with, an angelic symbol. I see the potential, and we're going to act as such. No longer in collective identity, but able to benefit from one another. Our first act is to kill all the goats and snakes. Them that won't change their ways, live like a cow. Sure, there are gods, higher powers and muses. We know and accept everyone has drifted outwards into my actions. I have met my dreams in intimate fashions, a riddle to life and its existence. I'm guilty of never to act on yearnings, to know an angel, is to do good. To know my own muse is to follow my dreams. Stumbling into arts, poetry, creating poems for romance, correcting errors to past wasteful days, repenting now. What is choral existence? Chorale? Sorry. Sure, there are gods, higher powers and muses. We know and accept everyone has personal mastery over their entire being. Know that and conquer it. We're virgins to life. What is worse? The need of the individual or the masses. Remember, we cannot have one without the other. Remember, learning how to think and be of value is a high meaning in living life. Existence exists as a ruler. Freedom and reality is its puppets. Never smile at a face you resent. Never trust a person who doesn't provide value to you. If one contributes to reality, one does not owe one thing to society. If it's love, you'll know. If it's lust, poetry has the right to shame you. And love requires attention. Education is only for those who make effort for learning. Peasants should be the ones who are lazy. In terms of buying art, tell the artist to publish an anonymous affair. If they complain, do not support the artist. Withhold complaints about capitalism. If you cannot live a daily life without trading anything, survival is based on one's needs. The result of one's life is based on one's actions, not their intent, emotions, goodness or evil, thinking or wisdom. Remember, life is completely pathless and endless. Leading yourself is far superior to most, and nothing in life should be easy to do or to understand. The self is the point of good and evil. If you don't have your own life, you're someone else. We've all got one life.
Test, this is a test. Does this work? Test it, test.
Tragedy in art does not coil my moods, just heightens them. I guess when one must rail, it should be in revelation. It should be in revolution that includes all of humanity and not for love. For loving another and dying for. It seems so selfish if you want to talk of morals, while your love steals attention from humanity. A lover is the pure poet's prize. Awards are those swallowed egos and wanting prestige in industry. But a coming of age for me is carry on. Red knife, bloody. Because this is earth, where sin is profitable. I want to catch you slipping. Hate as motivation, resentment as fashion. I gotta know. This is guerrilla. In silence we meet. In secret we loved. Saturating this world with philosophy that sparks revolution. Tradition is forgotten. History books burned. The fact that political ideologies are tangible realities is not proof of their vitally necessary character. The bubonic plague was an extraordinarily powerful social reality, but no one would have regarded it as vitally necessary, and everyone wanted to complain until the handouts started pouring in. I just developed myself and objected the reality outside because of its flaws, and knowing that any beauty it owned could have been heightened. Oh, how swallow the ocean is. My own weeping was only heard by my own ears, and no one shared in my laughter. I stood and said no. I became after I put in the work to be something of myself. An individual culture in a poetic strip. A private world. I'm looking for a muse that can outsmart my own mind. Sitting at the library reciting ancient poetry, knows they can leave but won't say no to me. Would you be mine? Now don't get mad. But I told my God how much you like it from behind. It's a revelation to know that no revolution is perfect with the involvement of people. If it could work, it would have happened. We had been given freely thousands of years of life. Instead, we took God's figure and formed the devil. Unwanted fame. With my knife out, made my heart turn cold in exile, and all I see, is images that will ruin the remaining innocence. To what mystery you search for, turning slowly into damning madness, till those mythological soldiers come forth, hitting your chest to shatter your frozen heart. I had met the beast from the east, heading west to destroy the rising sun. I pop any poet who whimpers now, for those do not praise death as master. To this reality will live on in constant torture. I'd rather poverty in paradise than richness on earth. My game was built on respect, and now with loaded gun, I plan to take shot to see them bodies dropping. I smile to see the lights turn out. Mystics turned gods. It's so easy to become one. It's more enticing than running to hide. And I really think that no one really cares. Ideas are harmless unless that spot in the mind where the thinker had planted finally crashes in and actions are taken. I'm not autonomous. I'm a real person. Flexible, intelligent, and humble enough to live my life. I had reached that status on the account of that, where everyone else must busy themselves to be a part of. Do not search for me. But I am searching for someone. Sorry.
Alright, that's all.
Fuck off. 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 Fuck off.
Fuck you! 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 Fuck you!